Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smoke Show. My name is Josh Smokey-Hell Nelson, and this is another installment of Up in Smoke, where I turn the mic around and answer the people's questions for once. Before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Thank you, by the way, so that you get each of these new episodes as soon as they drop. You can find us on Twitter at @the_smoke_show, and you can find me at TNFF_Smokey. This podcast is brought to you by the Fantasy Points Media Group as well as the TNFF Network, whom you can find on Twitter at FantasyPTSLive and at TrueNorthFFB, respectively. That takes care of the technical shit. Let's do this! Smoke Show! All right, our first question this week comes in from my boy Gymnastic. You can find him on Twitter at GoldJacketQBs. First question is, how is your mouth feeling? That's my question. So, little backstory. This morning, I went in for a root canal on my back molar. And partway through it, they decided that, you know what, your tooth is just fucked. So we're just going to book you in for an extraction instead. And so, yeah, fantastic. So everyone just, pour one out for old Smokey's back molar. But, you were great while you lasted, bud. So how's your mouth feeling? Not the greatest. I decided to delay the live stream a little bit for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to make a couple picks in this draft that's currently going on. And I also wanted to wait till the numbing agent wore off a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more painful, but you're not going to be dealing with Smokey talking like he just had a stroke or something like that. So my mouth is feeling okay. Well enough to podcast, well enough to live stream. Second question is also from Gold Jacket QBs, but it's an actual fantasy one now. So his question is, the biggest fantasy impact player that was drafted in the past draft by each NFC East team. All right, let's dive in here. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. And unless you were playing IDP leagues, in which case grab Micah Parsons and then Jabril Cox at the discount. We'll focus on the skills positions, which the Cowboys didn't really address until day 3 because, well, we don't really need to at the moment, with an under the radar stud in Simi Fehoko. I'm really hoping I'm saying this name right. I haven't heard anyone actually say it out loud yet, so I'm just going off my reading comprehension. So if it's wrong, apologies, Simi. This big boy comes in at 6'4", 222 pounds, and I'm pulling this quote from the Fantasy Points Draft Guide, which is a ridiculous wealth of knowledge that I've used to my advantage in some of my own drafts so far. But anyways, Simi Fehoko, and I quote, possesses traits that project well at the next level, including physicality both on his release versus press coverage and through his route stem, and the ability to make tough contested catches. Now, you couple all that with his size, and I think this guy makes the Cowboys' big decision next offseason a lot easier. I am talking, of course, about Amari and Gallup's contracts having an out and expiring, respectively. Do they let Gallup walk if Fehoko can prove to be a reliable and cheaper deep threat for Dak? Then you could pull Amari back into the slot a bit more where he's not facing as tough of corners and let Lamb chop down the outsides. Who knows? Maybe Gallup balls out this year with Dak and makes Amari the expendable one. All I'm saying is a guy like Fehoko gives you options. And I was quite happy to see the Cowboys take a deep flyer on him. I liked him pre-draft. A couple guys turned me on to him. Mark Mathick, designer for Viridian Global, co-owner of Viridian Global, who makes this hat, that hat back there, this beautiful CeeDee Lamb shirt. Beautiful. He was one of the guys that was big on Fehoko, so thank you, Mark, for tuning me into that future Cowboy. Moved along, the Eagles. Devonta Smith. Eagles gonna eagle. I think it helps Jalen Hurts more than anyone, as you can get a guy like Devonta in motion on some jet sweeps. Also use him in the vertical game. The kid's a stud. though basically a stretched out version of. But I think the Eagles could have finally grabbed the correct wide receiver. We'll see. The football team of Washington area. Round 3 picked Diami Brown, which was a great, if slightly developmental pick. I like his skills. I'd like to see a bit more weight on him to outmuscle those NFL corners, though. I hate how much I love what the football team has been doing over the past year with their moves. I hate it as a Cowboys fan. I fucking hate it. They're getting locked and ready to go, man. If Fitzy can do Fitzy things this year and bring that magic, it's gonna be a fun team to watch. Minus 2 games a year. The Giants. Well, I guess we have to talk about Kadarius Toney. Or not. Next question comes in from @Matt Donnelly FF. That's 2 T's, 2 N's, 2 L's, 2 F's. Why do you love Dingus so much? In this question, he is referring to himself. And there are several reasons why I love the man I refer to as Matty Dings. First of all, you have 9 children, which means you love kids and you love being a dad. That in itself would be enough. B, you have been super supportive and kind, talking me through some issues and even helping me to land Adam Rank of the NFL Network onto the Smoke Show, of which I will be eternally grateful. And C, 3, whatever. You have such a badass podcast and crew with the Dynasty Vipers. You are a constant inspiration to myself and others. I am absolutely certain of this. So that's why. Suck it. It's time for some shameless promotion. You want the discount for the hottest site in fantasy football? I've got it. Use promo code 21Smokey10, which sounds like it was communicated over CB radio, over at fantasypoints.com for access to a pretty ridiculous plethora of tools, info, optimizers, importers, generators, and waffle makers from the all-star cast in the industry. Again, that promo is 21Smokey10, 21SMOKEY10. Waffle makers are not part of this promotional deal or any deal at fantasypoints.com at all. All right, next question. This one comes in from my boy Garrett. You can find him on Twitter at GARRETWATO. What's your favorite team-up book / storyline from DC Comics from 2010 on? And when he asked me that, my answer was pretty immediate. I'm going to go with my boy, the Joker. And sorry, move my hand here. In this compilation called Death of the Family. Not to be confused with the 80s Death in the Family, in which Robin ate a crowbar sandwich, thanks to the fans. Man, DC fans are fucking sadistic. Anyways, that collection of stories, that whole arc, Death of the Family, is just next level intense. I mean, the art is crazy. This is when the Joker comes back and his face has been peeled off. He gets it back from Gotham PD. I believe that's where they had it. And he's basically stretched it back over his face with a couple hooks and like bungee cords around his head, like a wraparound face. And it's I mean, the Joker's frightening enough as it is. Probably my favorite comic character of all time. But it's just intensely psychological, which, you know, a lot of his storylines are. But, you know, Batgirl gets a little revenge for, you know, a tragic incident, we will say, that happened in a legendary seminal Alan Moore comic. But I digress. If you are going to pick up something that you haven't read before, this was during the New 52 era, and I mean, the art is unreal, the storyline is unreal. It is it's so good. Pick it up, man. This is just fantastic. Thick, good reading, good art. Pick it up. Smokey recommends. That would definitely be my answer. Okay, and next question comes in from my wife. You can find her on Twitter at Ranchel Nelson. That is ranch, like the dressing, ELNELSON. Her questions are always something else. Never fantasy football related, even though when we first got together, she was in my fantasy football home league for the first 3 seasons that it existed. She finished third in the playoffs before I did, we will say. And then the tragic off season where she lost both Peyton Manning and Megatron from her rosters from retirement. She also decided to hang up the cleats and call it a career. And now I don't have to worry about losing bets to my wife in fantasy football anymore. Love her. Anyways, her question is, if you were stuck having to watch one of my awful TV shows, which would you pick between, she's got just a list of beauties here, Real Housewives of Orange County, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Girls, The OC, Selling Sunset, and Too Hot to Handle. Damn, that's a terrible choice to pick between. I mean, you can immediately get rid of both of those Real Housewives shows. And you know what the bad part is? I will sit there and watch these shows with her just to, hang out with my wife, have some, together time or whatever. It doesn't matter what we're watching. She's happy with it. So, whatever, I can go on and set lineups or do some drafts or whatever. Anyways, the worst part is I am helpless against having some of my attention, at least a portion of it, drawn in to these shows. And I've never been tested. I don't think I have a photographic memory, a eidetic memory, whatever you want to call it, whatever the proper classification is for it. I have an incredible memory, though, like really, 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 really good. And so that portion, that fraction of attention that is being devoted to these god awful shows, it sticks, and I end up probably absorbing more information from these shows than my wife is. But she loves that drama, as you can see from this laundry list. But so get rid of those Real Housewives shows. There was another one that she didn't include on here. It was a spinoff from one of them. It was Lisa Vanderpump Rules, about her staff from several restaurants and stuff that she owns, and just same typical drama, but just less wrinkles on the faces. But that one wasn't terrible. I could relate to it on some level because I spent 20 years in the service industry, so I could at least relate on some level, not to the drama and shit. That was never my bag, but at least I could kind of follow along with that. Anyways, Girls, kick that 100,000 yards down the road. I detest that show. Talk about the most unlikable characters in television history, and like Lena Dunham on a personal level. Fuck that chick, man. Anyways, I'm just not a fan of hers. All right, just not a fan. But I will give her credit for writing some of the most unlikable characters. I mean, they sold it. But anyways, I'm absolutely not. Adam Driver, wow. Fantastic actor. And he was a saving grace on that show. I've had to sit through her watching that from beginning to end a couple times. But Adam Driver, what a great actor, man. I love that guy. Anyways, where were we? The OC. I can roll with that. There were some funny parts to that. They're great. Seth, awesome, man. Comic nerd. I can relate to that. Ryan, brooding person. Went on to play Jim Gordon in Gotham. He was great in that. I can jam with the OC. Selling Sunset. Real estate. Gives a crap. Too Hot to Handle. I don't even remember watching that one with her, so that about explains what it should be. So I'm going to say either Vanderpump Rules or the OC. We're going to go with OC for production value and less fakeness, we'll say. Reality television could just bite it. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that anymore. Her show's bad. Oh, The Circle. Man, she just watched that both seasons or whatever. That I can get down with that. That was kind of cool. That sucked me in a little bit more than I care to admit, even though I'm admitting it now. But yeah, let's cap it at that for this edition of Up in Smoke. Thank you so much for rolling with me. It's been fantastic. Look for this to drop. Fuck, I don't know, an hour or so. It won't take long to get this up. Anyways, I'm out.